On this week's show, we're discussing the epic PlayStation State of Play and everything included from a God of War trilogy remake to a Metal Gear Solid Castlevania appearance and Ghost of Yotei Legends bringing the demons, all that and much, much more on this week's GamerGuild Podcast. Good game, everyone, and welcome back to your weekly gaming podcast, the GamerGuild Podcast, where we get together to round up all of the week's video game news for your listening or viewing pleasure right here on youtube.com/GamerGuildTV and available up there in the digital clouds on your podcast platform of choice. Just search for the GamerGuild Podcast or GamerGuildTV, and you'll find us there every Monday at 8 a.m. when this show goes live. Your podcast plays for the week are myself, Chris at Arcane Rogue, and the returning, just for this very special State of Play episode, techie teacher himself at Axis LP. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you. Certainly incorrectly supporting the green today for some reason. It's completely off-brand, but hey.
Someone's got to help them. Someone's got to support them. Yeah, welcome back. How are you doing?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm actually better from the week's gaming news. It kind of gives me this like wind of energy and hype going into Friday. And actually, I guess it seems harsh to say, but the first time in a long time looking forward to like recording an episode just to like discuss it. To get it all off your chest and like talk about it. I know you said in our WhatsApp group with Richie and Rob just like how epic was that State of Play, and I think as you said that I was maybe 20 minutes from the end of watching it, so I was like, right, don't look at what he said. Just finished watching the show, and it just had me absolutely hyped. So we do have a fantastic show lined up for everyone. But before we get into all that, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring a ding ding that bell so you're kept in the loop with all the great content we do here on the show, like this very podcast, like our weekly live streams that we sometimes do, very rarely, usually never now, and more importantly, the weekly PlayStation Retro Hunt, where I travel back in time to hunt down some PlayStation 1 classic Black Label games. We had a special one drop this week, Tom, very timely. Rayman. The original Rayman game from 1995. I had it in the bank for a couple of weeks, and I anticipated there was going to be an announcement or something for the 30th anniversary. So I held off on the trigger, and then our wonderful members had it a little bit early, but more importantly, it's gone live immediately after this yesterday's announcement. It was like, right, get that shit up. It's timely, it's fitting. People are searching for Rayman. Do it. So go check that out. But as I said, Tom, you're back. We actually went on a little adventure last week. You, me, and Richie.
We did. We went on our own little sort of like retro hunt, didn't we?
We did. We didn't buy anything on said retro hunt.
We didn't buy anything.
One thing. But yeah, it was good. We had a fun time. We went and checked out a retro gaming market, which we've done 2 years in a row now.
2 years
to the same one. And I did say on the day, but I'll reiterate for our viewers and listeners that these markets, I feel like, as time goes by, they're becoming almost less and less relevant. Like, it's weird how, like, physical media, even though, like, retro is so collectible and so physical, it's almost like it's hit saturation point where there's not much out there. We looked at a lot of, like, replicas of crap, just, like, sports games that, like, no one wants now. Like, if you go and buy, like, FIFA from 2 years ago, no one wants it now, let alone in 20 years' time.
Absolutely.
And I think like we looked at a couple, and I think there is that just harsh reality where some of these games are 25, 30, 35 years old. They're not, the good condition ones have gone. Like, we're just left picking at scraps now. I know you called out a few versions. I think Richie picked out a couple for me. And as soon as I opened the box, it was just like, ugh. For the time and effort and cost, you would be better dedicating your time, as I've been doing, to eBay and spending maybe £3 to £4 more, but getting a guaranteed like decent copy, a decent edition.
Just the seagulls flock into the to the rubbish dump now, isn't it? Really, it's like all the good shit's been picked away, and now it's just
very much. And we've got a couple of news stories about that as well, because there's delistings happened as well in this past week, which again what pushes up that retro. What was the big one I saw? One of the games coming to Switch. Someone was talking about in our Discord that it's coming to Nintendo Switch. But there's a 40 gig download and it comes on a game card, so there's no physical card either. I found out that the harsh way I bought my daughter Just Dance over Christmas for the Bluey Just Dance bit. Opened up to my disappointment Christmas Day, just a piece of paper inside. It's like, why Ubisoft? Why do it with Just Dance? But alas, fun all the same. In terms of videos this week. There'll be another PlayStation Retro Hunt goes up. There probably will be a first look that goes up, purely because Ubisoft have been generous enough to send me a code for Rayman the 30th Anniversary Edition. So just off the back of the PlayStation Retro Hunt, I'm going to jump in and play the 30th Anniversary Edition, which we'll get into as part of the news, but shout out to Ubisoft for sending us that code. And Tom, we start every show, before we get into the bulk, of course, you know what we've been playing. I've not spoke to you on camera for a couple of weeks now. What you've been playing? On your Portal, no doubt.
Ooh, well, so it's been a bit of a mix of things, to be honest with you. I haven't actually dabbled that much in the Portal as much as I would have liked to. I have been playing a survival game called Enshrouded, which is approaching its official release. So version 1.0, it's been in early access for quite a while. But that's sort of been like itching... or scratching the itch, I should say, of my survival sort of game, wherein before it was sort of like taken up by Dune Awakening for a bit. That's now sort of like filling the void, so to speak, very much on that fantasy sort of driven thing right now. And then separately as well, I have very, very, very much rekindled my love for Overwatch.
Overwatch 2 or just rename?
No, no, Overwatch. Overwatch now. Everything just from like the rekindled UI, like the new UI that they've put out there, the new characters, the whole experience is just feeling a lot fresher than it was. It's not the same stale game it was when I left it. They've put a lot of quality of life improvements into place, and it just feels like it's going through its sort of like second wind right now, and it's so nice to have a game that I was really excited about when it first came out. Like 10 years ago now, 2016, and here we are again, back at a point where it just feels like it's having its it's just come
like
back
a homecoming
to life all of a sudden. Yeah,
just fits it. So that sounds, I've seen a lot of people say like Overwatch is back now, and it does make you wonder why they ever bothered. Like I think that was when they split the fan base a lot back in the day. That was the biggest disappointment. There's a few franchises I wish would do that. I don't know why Helldivers has a 2 on it. I wish Battlefront was still just a platform where you just got new Star Wars content that didn't need to do a sequel necessarily. The Division didn't really need a sequel. Like, I know they're going to do a Division 3, but I would quite be content with just the Division full stop, and they just add new campaigns, new missions, new multiplayer stuff to it over time. Because we've seen that success, right? With the likes of Fortnite and now back to Overwatch and Rainbow Six Siege, you don't need to sequelize these things to see success. You mentioned Enshrouded there, though. Tell me a bit more like that, because it looks, just at first glance, it looks like a bit of Avowed almost meets Fable in a way.
Yeah. In a way, it's one of these games that it's very much you exist within a world that is a world that's been corrupted by people. Basically went through, to give you a bit of sort of like backstory with it. People were visited by a mysterious stranger, and they were given this thing known as the elixir. The elixir granted magic to the world, but what they didn't know was like looking for this elixir and mining for this elixir ended up causing something called the Shroud to actually sort of envelop the world and create these demons. This sort of very bad guy-esque sort of thing, this corrupted part of the world. It is a survival game very much in the sense that you have, you go around, you build your tools, you make axes, you make pickaxes, you dig up resources, you hunt things. Yeah, you can build a house. It's very Minecrafty in the sense of it's like very voxel based. So rather than it being like preset blocks, you can destroy individual like 3-dimensional cubes in there. So you can really go to town with customization. It has a great class-based system as well. So sort of like very much like Final Fantasy X, where it almost has like a sphere grid. You have like a central point, and then you can work your skill points out from the center to basically customize your character, whether you want to move towards being a ranger, towards being a mage, towards being a healer, a tank, whatever you want to go for. You just sort of build like your character as you want to. But one of my favorite things that they've actually added to it more recently is the water mechanics. It has some incredible water physics that game does. Like you can literally build like your own water wheel, rivers, lakes, ponds, whatever you want, and as long as you're able to make the water move the way that you want to. You can do whatever you want with it. You also go around the world and sort of like follow a general sort of storyline and free NPCs, and those NPCs can come and live at your base. You can summon them, give them a room, and then that gives them access to things like, an alchemy lab, a blacksmith forge, to sort of like start unlocking different things. It's been a lot of fun. It's probably one of those games I'd love to actually like play with people as well, because it is multiplayer, but you can play the experience single player as well, which is how I'm currently experiencing it.
Yeah, it looks like it's got a lot going on for it. I'm surprised looking at just some of the trailers. It's got like a lot of eyes on it as well. Like IGN's trailer's got like 90 million views, and it looks like they've been adding more and more to it, even though it's still in early access. Like I'm looking at some like the update pack trailers. It seems like they just keep coming up with more ideas the longer it stays in early access, which I guess builds towards a fantastic finished product, doesn't it?
I think when you compare it to other early access or even released survival games, there seems to be a lot of content in there, like you say, for the point that it's at. So if you compare it to a game like Valheim, which was just announced back in the Nintendo Switch Direct the other day, they're at a point where they've been taking it very slowly for their sort of like development of content. Like Valheim is a game that I really, really got into for a while, and played to death. Like it was my ultimate addiction for a while. But that game sort of started to feel a little bit drawn out. It started to feel a little bit lackluster in certain areas. They only sort of recently added something like magic, and there is no real class-based system. You can achieve that through mods, but Enshrouded has really sort of like gotten to the point where I'm like, I feel like this is for me. And comparing it to Fable in a way, yeah, it kind of is, just without that like sort of interactive world sort of element of like the NPCs and other systems. But who knows?
Yeah, it looks solid. Absolutely. Considering I'd never heard of it before as well. It looks absolutely spot on, so no surprises there. I've not been playing much for a couple of weeks now because I'm waiting for Resident Evil Requiem. I'm kind of all on the horror train. I did finish OG Resident Evil, finished that one, so I went back. Saying to Richie, I started on my original PlayStation. No, couldn't get away with it. I think I did like 20, 30 minutes, if that, and then I had to pivot and I downloaded the director's cut on it's like I think it's the GameCube version ported over to PS4 then PS5.
Right.
So it has like the better textures and the more fluid like cameras and dynamics and stuff. But man, it's still a tough game. Like just the puzzles alone, like I had to look at so many YouTube videos, and when you know it seems so obvious. But in the moment when you have to like pick up and analyze something, turn it around, and some of it is not on the nose. It's very like, oh, if you look at this painting in a certain way and move this object to that part of the room, it's like, who built this house?
You know what? Kids these days don't realize how good they've got it with these YouTube videos and things. Back in my day, we had to go to Game FAQs and download a text document and print off 200 pages.
Oh, it was just like going like some of the parts I was just like looking at the kind of whole layout of the room and knowing there's a puzzle there, but not able to figure out what the hell I was doing. I'm thinking, how did I ever get as far as a kid? Playing things like Dino Crisis and this, getting the codes and, like I said, writing the code down, but knowing that you need to remember it for half an hour from now in another half of the building. It was just, a lot of guides, a lot of fumble through. I forgot it had sharks in it as well. I was like, what? I thought it was all zombies, and then you get to the basement, it's like, oh shit, this guy's got sharks. I half expected laser beams to be on the heads as well, like Dr. Evil style. But yeah, dabbling between a few things. So as I said, Rayman's going up as well. Finished Resident Evil, so I'm all ready to. After Requiem, I'm going to go through 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm just going to do the whole gamut of them, as I've been saying for ages. Played Astrobot with my daughter after
lovely.
I got the disc back off you, and you said like your son was really good at playing it. So I was like, you know what, we'll play it. And she just laughed her head off of him, like running through the grass, falling in the water, the little purple monsters hitting them. And she's huge into Spidey and Friends on Disney Plus at the moment. So I showed her Spider-Man as well. So she thought he was funny, running up the walls, jumping off, and every time he looked towards the camera, absolute burst into giggles and laughter. Helped me with one of the missions to kind of like tell me where the diamond was to get to the waypoint. So that was just like, right, this is my like slow introduction. But yeah, absolutely loves Astrobot as well. And then in the meantime, the game I'm actually playing is The Walking Dead Season 1 on PlayStation Vita. So after we had our little retro excursion and you and our friends were all looking at the modified Nintendos and Game Boys and stuff with colour, I was like, you know what? The Vita's got all that, and I don't need to pay £200 for a retrofitted one. And yeah, I've played The Walking Dead before. I think loads of people have back in the day, but I didn't have the Platinum on Vita. I think I've got it on PlayStation 3, maybe? I'm guessing it was 3.
The thing about the Vita to me is Sony was just ahead of its time with the Vita. Like, if it was released more so recently now with a slightly different form factor, maybe, man, chef's kiss, absolutely.
Yeah. So good.
What a handheld.
So, and I never went back and played the Michonne stuff and the final season, because I think they released it again episodically, and I was waiting for the end, and then like most episodic stuff, you just never get back to it. So it just went. So I thought, you know what, I'll dust off the old Vita. I'll buy the game cart to add it to my collection. So I've got the Walking Dead season 1 complete, all on cart, not with a game code, not downloadable. Runs a little bit slow. I know the Telltale engine was notoriously shit anyway. But it's such a good story already. Like it's no wonder The Walking Dead took off the way it did, and no wonder this game elevated Telltale to where they end up being as well, because it's such a good story with Lee and Clementine and the groups that you meet, and seeing the little bits from the show sprinkled in of like the farm, and then going to the cannibals and all that, and just like making decisions that impact it. Definitely worthwhile picking up. And it also reminded me, where the hell's The Wolf Among Us 2? I feel like we've been waiting on that. That should have been up the state of play. But alas. So plenty to play. Looking forward to Requiem imminently, and getting my hands on Rain Man 30th anniversary as well. But I guess with the mention of that, Tom, we should get into the big chunk of the show, which is pretty much, if you're an Xbox fan, just leave now, because this is very much going to be a PlayStation state of play, full breakdown, all the games we'll talk about and discuss it. So we can't do that, Tom, until you introduce us to the
graciously gathered Gamer Guild Gazette, aka the news.
The news. And as always, the news is brought to you by our wonderful guild heroes, the fantastic members of the channel who support us that extra little bit further, just like you can. From as little as 99p, you can support the boys, get early access to content like PlayStation, Retro Hood, and any other stuff we put up, stickers and badges next to your name, and our undying support. And I should actually mention, I know I said Tom is here, I didn't actually allude to the fact that Richie's not here. He's succumbed to his man flu from last week. Yeah. He's no longer with us. R.I.P. No. What actually happened is the grind he's been doing to try and finish Octopath Traveler 0 has killed him. He's been on that final trophy and he just couldn't do it, and he thought, why bother? So Tom will be hosting in Richie's space from now on. Of course, with Jess. Sorry, but yes, Rich will be back next week, no doubt. He just can't breathe right now. And thankfully, everyone was nice from the comments last week, because, my word, he was making some grunty, snorty noises deep into the microphone. Which nice. I'm sure on your commute to work on a Monday morning, all you need is to go. So, yes. But none of that this week.
Keep it classy, Richie. Keep it classy.
Just PlayStation energy. So, Tom, we had our PlayStation State of Play. It ran for over an hour long, which not only breaks a record for the longest state of play, but in general, I think if you've not gathered from our energy so far, this hands down was like the best state of play. This was almost better than, if memory serves, the showcase. They did one showcase a while back where they announced all like the live service shit, that half of which doesn't even exist and has been cancelled since then. Yeah. But I just thought this was just 1 hour of pure gaming euphoria, of just by the odd couple of things. It didn't feel like there was any filler. Everything felt like if I had the time in my life, I would probably play through all of them, or at least check them out once. So much stuff was like, oh my word, my 2026 is now stacked with stuff that I wanted to play. And not everything was even here. There's a lot more that wasn't mentioned. Wolverine didn't even make an appearance, which I thought that was a shoo-in. But it didn't. So we'll break it all down. We'll get into it. We'll probably go through it chronologically, actually, because again, it was really well timed. What were your overall thoughts on it? Because you kickstarted the conversation in our group. You out of nowhere were just like, that state of play was epic. And I was like, yes, it damn was. What were your overall thoughts?
So initial reaction to it, like coming out of it at the very end, was this may be, to me, the best state of play I have seen to date. That is like no holds barred how I felt about it. I felt that every single game came out in a way that it wasn't like overly lingering too long in any game. The pacing just felt really good. The energy levels from everybody presenting just felt right. They had the right people presenting it. And it was just coming thick and fast, and it was just click, click, boom, boom, new tile, this tile, X, Y, Z, and it just felt like it was full of energy. And yeah, there's so many games on that list right there where I'm like, it sucks to be a father now.
Time. Like, I think my only real big ones for the year initially were James Bond, which got pushed back, thankfully, a little bit away from Resident Evil Requiem. So I've got a bit of a buffer. So RE9, James Bond, and then Control, presumably some point in the summer we expect. And then inevitably, everyone's playing GTA for the back end of the year anyway. Yeah. So that's kind of a write-off. I've already wrote off Q4 for GTA time. So then it's kind of like, where does everything sit in between that? And yeah, after yesterday, it was like, well,
yeah,
mark that for August, mark that for spring,
there are
mark that for summer.
Solid games in there.
Absolutely. Well. Let's get the ball rolling then, Tom. Let's get into it. They kickstart the showcase, which, to absolute delight for me, we're getting a follow-up to Kena Bridge of Spirits, the Ember Labs first game. Remember, this was an indie studio that just popped up out of nowhere with some Pixar, beautiful art, animation, amazing fun combat, and a really kind of heartfelt story. We were talking a bit offline ahead of time, but yeah, this is the sequel. So this is Kena or Kenna. What did we say? Kena. I think I settled on. How would you say it?
I say Kenna, but again, I've not actually played the first one, so I can't hand on heart say the pronunciation.
So this is Scars of Cosmora, which, according to the PlayStation blog, is going to come out in 2026, so this year, to PlayStation 5 and PC. So Ember Labs have doubled down on their award-winning debut title, which, again, fully successful. Probably I was saying offline, wasn't I? Proudest platinum. It was so tough. I waited for the physical edition because of how fun the game looked. It got rave reviews, which made me double down on getting the physical edition. But it did get patched to all hell, so I didn't get the platinum the cheesy, grindy way. I had to do it the old school way. It's probably the closest I've got to finishing a Dark Souls-esque game. Some of the boss fights, the combat mechanics are brutal. But yeah, they come back and they say they're going to take all the magic that the original Kena game had, build on everything they learned along the way. And then looking at the trailer, it's taken everything. She's a little bit older as a spirit guide. She doesn't just help people pass from death over into the kind of spiritual world. It's a whole full-blown kind of Legend of Zelda epic Pixar movie by the looks of it. And even though I love my Switch 2 as next to the first person, this is probably the nearest you're going to get on PlayStation and PC. And it just looks stunning. And you said that you haven't played the original, but what did this do for you?
This game, to me, looked stunning. Like, visually, I went into this and I looked at it and I was like, how have I not played the first one? Like, how have I not experienced this yet? I just watched this thinking, like, this is really utilized, like, game engines to their absolute peak. Like, the visuals, just the art style alone, and the combat systems, it just looked fluid, it looked responsive, it looked... I want to use the word chunky, but not in a bad way. It looked like there was some real sort of feeling to the way that the animations were created. And I've got to say, like, for a second game, a sequel for an indie studio, hell yeah, guys! Like, keep this up, because you've really sold me on the first game here, and I'm going to have to go back and play Bridge of Spirits now as well to see, get that sort of vibe in there before Scars of Cosmora comes out.
Yeah, they've really doubled down on everything. I know they show a mount for the first time in this one, which is definitely an addition, which shows you probably the scale of the world that you're going to need a mount to traverse around a lot more. In the first one, you have these little creatures called the Rot, which I always thought was an odd name for them, but they were kind of like the little spiritual, just fun little dumpling people who walked around, and they were kind of like the whimsy, the minions of the world. Like, they just basically helped you out with your powers. They didn't really do much. And then this time it looks like you're getting a full-blown like little spirit fox, who's going to grow bigger, grow smaller, and help you in your combat and on your journey as well. But yeah, looking at the trailer, the combat and the boss fights were very much inspired by Dark Souls, and they start off quite easy, but there's a definitive kind of difficulty spike about 2/3 into the game. But just the story, again, just really light-hearted, fun story. Beautiful visuals, as you said. The way they use like just bright colours to pop is such a Pixar move. Let's just make everything absolutely lush and vibrant. And if you're playing this on like 4K Ultra HD or something, it's going to be a feast for your eyes. But yeah, 2026. So shout out to Ember Labs. That one kickstarted the show, and I think it did just kind of set the right tone, because it was something I don't think anyone could have predicted. A lot of people even said that they probably wouldn't see a sequel from Kena. It did well. It was critically received very well. I think it was in the Game of the Year conversation for the kind of the big five for the year it released in 2021, I want to say. But then naturally, it wasn't from a big studio. It was exclusive to PlayStation at the time, so I think it maybe didn't get the love it deserved. I do believe it came to Xbox later on, but I'm not sure it made the jump to Switch. So maybe we'll see that leading up to the sequel. But yeah, what a way to start. I wouldn't be surprised if this one did well. I could see Ember Labs being on Sony's radar for acquisition. It seems like a perfect fit. They did say in the trailer announcement when the two developers came out that they've worked closer in tandem this time with PlayStation Studios. So naturally, Sony can see something there that's really, really kicking things off to start with. But yeah, what a start to the show. Really looking forward to it. Do we think 2026 is realistic, or is this one of them we're going to tease you to make you happy and then...
It's hard to say, isn't it? Because it's a game that nobody had even predicted coming at this point, and there were, very little on the grapevine about it. So it could slip, but I'm really hoping not, because I've actually got this one earmarked as being like one of the titles I want to play this year as well now. So it gives me time still to get through the first one.
Yeah.
But fingers crossed.
I think this is why it's going to be stacked, because if they say 2026, you're going to obviously avoid the whole GTA thing around November onwards. Yes. November, December is pretty much a write-off for me. You could try and get out ahead of it, so I could maybe see them dropping like early September, trying to just get in that little pocket window, back end of the summer holidays, get in there while spirits are high. But
I assume at this point that any game that's announced coming out for this year is going to be coming out in the latter half. It's certainly not going to come sooner, I wouldn't expect, if it's got no date.
No, certainly not. I'll tell you what does have a date, though. The next thing they lead into, I love it when they do use the PlayStation Studios, that like sound effect, because immediately I just get that little bit of hype, that juice out of it when you hear it do the little jingle. It's kind of like the original PlayStation sound up noise. It's such an iconic sound now. Even when the showcase ended, it did the PlayStation dun dun and the sacred symbols pop up. It was like that was like the end full stop of me going, damn, that was a good showcase. But yes, next up we got something with a date, which was Ghosts of Yotei Legends. It's coming March the 10th, so we got a release date trailer. We knew this was coming. They announced last year when Ghosts of Yotei came out that there would be a Legends DLC coming. It was going to be free to existing owners. This is now coming pretty much just under a month away, so almost a stealth drop in a way. If you're not familiar with Legends, it's the online co-op spin-off that for Ghost of Tsushima didn't tell anyone about it, and then they just stealth dropped it on us, I think maybe 3 months after launch. And me and Richie played through a few bits of it, but for me it was like it's one of the, if not the best multiplayer game I'd played prior to Helldivers 2 coming out. It's just so fun, the combat's so good, again just 4-player team up going into kind of it's because it's not just Japan. It's like a mythical version of it. So, like Assassin's Creed lean into all like the super spooky, eerie mythology bits. Kind of. It's basically their version of that. But yeah, different mission types, kind of survival, team territory control. You gain skill tree benefits throughout. The more you level your character up, you can get unique. I mean, we know from the main game anyway. There's so many customizable outfits in the Ghost games to begin with. Double that up for the online version, and you have one hell of a game with 4 classes: a samurai, an archer, a mercenary, and a shinobi, which you can jump around, mix up the weapons, gather loot, and just go out and have a great time. And it was such a almost like stealth success. For me, it felt like PlayStation had stumbled onto a live service game without even realizing it, just off the back of an amazing single player game. So did you ever get around to checking out Legends?
I did with Tsushima, but I haven't even touched Yotei yet. It's definitely another one that's on my list right there. But the vibe that I got from this, the idea of going with like the Oni, the demons, the sort of like different creature, like the mythological creatures in Japanese culture as well, was really sort of sold it to me on the way that they're actually pitching this one too. I love the look of it. I love the idea of it. It looks again like it's going to be like fast-paced, fun action as well, with that obviously stealth element of it that the Ghost games are obviously great for. Would love to get around to this as well. So I think again, I will say, popping into CEX the other day, I saw Yotei on the shelves, and I was tempted.
It's well, they said it's releasing with a patch as well. So if you picked it up in and around launch of Legends, it's probably going to be the best version of it it's had so far. I will say regarding Legends, it's kind of they're going to do it as its own standalone, so you can buy it separately as well as getting it free if you bought the Yotei game. The bit you mentioned on there around the demons is what makes it so good. It's the in the premise of the Ghost of Yotei main campaign is the Yotei 6 are like the 6 assholes who basically kill your parents and hunt you down as part of it. So the version in Demons is their demonic forms of those characters that they play. So it's great if you finish the campaign, it's almost like another alternate universe version of that, where if their caricatures were real. So I think it gives you like a nice overlapping tie into the main story. But yeah, Sucker Punch, man, it's a shame we have moved on from a time when, if you remember in the PS3 era, every PlayStation single-player game got a multiplayer just by default. The Uncharted multiplayer was fantastic. The Last of Us multiplayer, the Killzone multiplayer was fantastic. I don't remember the Infamous ever having one off the top of my head, who was Sucker Punch as well. But yeah, Legends, it just shows you that these quality studios, if you give them, I guess, the freedom to just do with it what they will, they've got the assets, they've got the creative talent clearly from the single-player games. And it doesn't need to be like a wild season pass game as a service. It can just be a nice add-on that complements the main story, and you can have hours and hours of fun in. So I do hope it does well. I am kind of suspicious that they called it Ghosts of Yotei Legends again, and not just Ghost Legends. Or, you know, something to kind of bridge like the naming conventions of both entries. Because inevitably, when they do a third one and it's Ghost of Japan or Tokyo or whatever, I feel like Legends, again, back to your point you said earlier on about the Overwatch kind of debacle, it could just be Ghost Legends, and that could just kind of survive every entry in the series and exist like in perpetuity. But yeah, so good. Looking forward, and just like a quick 1-2 punch to kickstart the show with that one was absolutely wild. Next up, we got Death Stranding 2 coming to PC, which I think we kind of knew about. I haven't played Death Stranding still. I'm a huge Metal Gear fan. I know I will thoroughly enjoy Death Stranding when I commit it. It is just that thought of, in my mind's eye, it's a 40, 50, 60-hour delivery game, and now there's two of them. Yep. Even though Death Stranding 2 won a lot of Game of the Years last year, so I know it's going to be a phenomenal game. Kojima's amazing through and through. I know now it's on PC, but it just reminds me of, like, shit, I need to get to this at some point before they do a third one. And, did you ever check out the first?
No, you're not alone there. I'm in exactly the same boat as you, and even then, it's in my library. It's sat there. It's something that stares me in the face every time I sit there thinking, do you know what? I want to play something different. I want to play something new. I look at it and I go, I don't know if I've got the time to commit right now, but there's something that's just nagging inside that's just like asking me to it. And again, with the second one, with how rave the reviews were for it and how well it did at Game of the Year and so on, it's just those are the kinds of things that just make me want to play it more. Yeah,
I look at it and just think, time. It's got to be time. And part of me thinks, do I just watch like a cinematic recap? Because there's probably going to be about 10 hours of cinematics that practically make a full TV show that could go on Netflix, no problem. But it's between that. Yeah, sometimes I do it with Cyberpunk as well. I've got Cyberpunks out there with Phantom Liberty where, similar to yourself, like I lost my save with Stadia shutting down. Yeah. So I never quite finished it. And I know I'll enjoy it, and it's just kind of there. At one point, I'm like, I almost need like a 2-month window where no game's coming out. But like yourself, like Richie, I get pulled in going, but the new thing's coming out in a few weeks, and I could start Cyberpunk now, but I know Requiem's 2 weeks away, so I'd be foolish to do that. And then after that, I'm like, right, okay, I've got March. Oh, wait, you've got James Bond just around the corner. You've got Ghost Legends now dropping. You've got stuff in the summer as well. And it's like, well, I'll put it back. And then, several years are going to pass, and we're going to get a Cyberpunk sequel announced, coming out. And it's going to be like, shit. Where have the years gone? Where have the years gone? But, Death Stranding 2, great to see a PC port. Probably goes to Xbox imminently as well. I think the turnaround from this one, the sequel to the first entry, has been a lot quicker. We did see a PC part of Death Stranding 1, but it was about, I think, just under a year. This one's done it in less than 6 months. So it seems the contract negotiations for sequels get a little bit tighter. More powers maybe with Kojima on this one. But we'll get to it eventually. Next up, we got a little bit, probably the only one of a handful of games that didn't really do anything for me was 4Loop. As part of it. Now, we've seen 4Loop before. It was at the Game Awards, if I recall. David, is he called Bloom or something, showed up, and he basically, it's the one in tandem with Bad Robot Productions. Yeah. So it's kind of them trying to form a game studio off the back of J.J. Abrams' kind of success in the movies and stuff. And the premise doesn't seem too bad. it shows you how basically you kind of have to die in the multiplayer world to learn from your mistakes, and it offers almost like a quirky multiplayer roguelike style where like each run is going to be different, but you'll learn from each run. So it's actually the tagline of the game is die to survive or something, die to save the planet or something like that. So you have to die, and then a new clone version of you comes out. So it's got an interesting premise, but again, back to you in time with multiplayer. What did this one do for you? I thought it looked good.
Well, yeah, it's one that again is, you know, it's got that very like Left 4 Dead vibe to it, but I think it's coming at a point where I think that sort of world is very heavily contended at the moment. It seems like it's trying to capitalize on where Helldivers was incredibly successful. In a way that, you know, it's very sci-fi heavy. It's got this idea of, you know, you play as a team against random big bads out in the world. They showed off in this the big cube boss thing as well, didn't they? Where you have to sort of like do a whole like laser dance at the same time as trying to take it down, which seemed kind of quirky, kind of fun. It gave me throwbacks to like Destiny raids that did when you're like fighting down the big bosses in Destiny. I liked the vibe of the tree with the branching pathways. That was very like thinking of an indie game that reminded me of Slay the Spire, where you could pick the path that you go through it, and depending on what you go, you get different events on different paths. That was kind of cool, but for the most part, looking at it, I kind of felt like it was lacking polish. Like the animations didn't quite seem as robust as I would have liked them to have been, especially not with the name Bad Robot behind them. I get that it's this sort of like, you know, big sort of entry into the gaming space, but this is one that I think was the first dip, if you imagine, in the roller coaster of the state of play.
Yeah, I agree. It has that kind of gameplay structure of probably the First Division, but that was like a decade plus ago now. It's like that was acceptable 10 years ago, but I know what you mean about like the fluidity. Again, it looks like there's a good loop. My worry for it, and as me and Richie always say, is just like the market for these type of games seems so saturated now. And even though like Arc Raiders is like burst through, and we know the Division 3 will be fantastic when it comes out, we have worries for like Marathon, which we'll get into in a little bit later on because it was in the showcase. But it just feels like everyone's kind of picked their camp for these type of games. They put their flag in, and back to your point about saying like going back to Overwatch, it's like there's only so many hours in the day and only so many franchises, and every new one that comes out that takes up some time. Like Apex Legends still going strong. Like all of these thousands upon thousands of players, like they sit somewhere, and to pull them away from what they've now spent probably hundreds on season pass content, hundreds on skins, hundreds on just like time. Like no wonder Destiny keeps hold of its player base for so long, because like people have invested like 1,000 upon 1,000. I think one of our friends has played like 2,500 hours in Destiny 2, and it's like, yeah, so if you want to scratch that itch, you just go play more Destiny, right? That's the kind of the pull of these games. So Full Loop has a big hill to climb, I think, with this one, but we'll learn more about, we'll see more about that in the future, no doubt. They did announce like playtests are coming soon, so with no date. It's a bit weird to announce a playtest and then not give like a window, but either way. Pragmata, I think we can probably like gloss over a little bit. It's been shown off a lot, similar to Resident Evil has done. Where are you sitting on it? Because Pragmata is one for me where I'm like, it's not doing anything at the moment. It looks polished. It looks good in that, no doubt in the RE engine, but
this was the first time. Yeah, it's one of those Capcom games that I think sort of sits there of the almost like it's slightly below the AAA standard, isn't it? It's like 2.5A. Kind of bigger than a AA, but it definitely gave me some interesting vibes. Like I liked the look of the world building in this, being as this is the first opportunity we saw of outside of the space station,
true.
in footage.
Didn't feel as Dead Space this one.
Yes, yeah. The main character definitely gives off that sort of Dead Space vibe, doesn't it? But is his name Hugh? I think it is as well. He's got the most like generic sort of name there. Obviously,
it's like Clive in Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
It's just
like, but no, the world outside, I think it was meant to be New York, was definitely seemed a little bit more interesting. And then all of a sudden the giant, huge head robots that came out of nowhere as well,
crawling
along the
mannequin
floors.
doll, like porcelain doll
Yes.
creatures. Just there's something intrinsically it's weird about them, isn't there?
Yeah, like a sci-fi version of the weird mimes from Expedition 33, sort of like gave me that sort of vibe when they came out.
Scary shit. But yeah, the open world bit did appeal a lot more. I think it definitely actually got like ironically Control vibes from it, just with the RE engine rather than the Northlight engine. But yeah, Pragmata, it's due out soon, so you've not got long to wait for that one. I think they said releases on April 24th, so again, not long to wait if you're after one of the bigger titles of the year from a big studio. Resident Evil Requiem got its 4th trailer. I do feel like this one's been kind of like broadcast to death right now, just because what we've seen. However, it is like my next big game that I'm looking forward to playing, so I kind of didn't mind them showing off the trailer one. And as I said, now I've played one, I'm kind of all fully in on right. We played Biohazard on the channel years ago for Stadia. We played Village on the channel when it came out, so we've actually gone a full dev cycle now, and we're back to Resident Evil 9. So I've just in this weird place where I've played all the latest ones, but not the oldest ones. So for Christmas, I got 2, 3, 4 remake.
Nice.
All there. Not even open yet. They're still in the cellophane, ready to go off the back of 9. So
good.
I think this has been my kind of like perfect transition where we know the others were first person, and this one's best of both worlds. You can transition in now between them. So then actually I can kind of do best of both worlds with 9 and then transition into playing the third person action ones. So it's kind of like a perfect transition point for me. But it just looks so good. It looks like so violent. I'm loving the fact that it's kind of Leon with the action part, and then you've got Grace with the kind of stealth, don't get caught, sneak around part. And then the trailer ends by showing you that he's going back to the police station. The Raccoon City
that was the absolute hype moment of this trailer. Like finally, just seeing that entrance there, I was just thinking like, oh my god, flashbacks to those games right there. Just thinking back to 2, thinking back to 3, just let's go. But we still don't have any information on a demo for this, and we're like 2 weeks out now.
Yeah,
so do you think we're actually going to get a demo?
I really expect, because we've always in the past got demos from them, and we saw them. They dropped a Pragmata one after. I really thought this trailer was going to end with demo available now, and it didn't. So I don't know if they're maybe going to do one final Resi showcase on YouTube or something, and then drop it maybe a week or 2 ahead.
We get that there's people out there who absolutely love Leon S. Kennedy. Like, we get that. We understand that. But I think there's only so much you can actually take. But they've definitely hit the marketing beat for Requiem, haven't they? Like, they know where they stand with that, and they know where they're pitching it. Yeah,
it did everything. And even, like, again, someone who's not... like I played a bit of 2 but not finished, seeing like the police station was like, even I knew what that meant. And again, it kind of has me hyped for then when I do finish this and go into 2, depending on where the police station sits, it's almost like a perfect stitching point for then if you finish Requiem, similar to me, go back and play 2. It's like the perfect loop is almost like they're ready for the taking. So hyped for that one. It's the end of the month, my pre-order's in. I have this weird thing on Amazon where I pre-ordered it like months ago. And then I checked my pre-order, and the pre-order said, it's getting delivered on the 1st of March. And I was like, it comes out on the 27th? What the hell? So I went back on Amazon, reordered another version of it, delivery expected 27th. So then cancelled the one I pre-ordered well ahead, which is truly the point of pre-ordering, is you want to get in the queue at the right time. And seemingly cancelling my old order and putting in a new one gets me delivered on the right date. And just like, I don't want to risk it because I don't want to get it and find it. I think it's over half term as well, so it's like the perfect time to be off and play. I don't want this coming on my day back at work. I want it while I've got a full 4-day weekend ahead of me. So fingers crossed. But Requiem, cannot wait for it. Looking hyped. We then moved on to a bit of a classic. We got Legacy of Kain Defiance remaster, following on from the Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver remaster we got half a year ago. He's back. They showed it off Defiance. Available for pre-order now. Launches next month, so you don't have to wait too long for it. They then announced kind of all that within it. Where are you at on the Legacy of Kain franchise?
It's been a franchise that I've always wanted to sort of sink my teeth into. But at the same time, I'm also just like, it it's one that sort of skipped me by. I'd love to. We may allude to some further news later on that might get me to go there a little bit more, but we'll see. We'll see. It was still nice to see. Again, I think it was another. I know what I said before about 4-Loop being the first dip in the roller coaster, but I think realistically, what I was trying to say, because Legacy of Kain sort of hit that second point for me, it wasn't so much like a negative dip. It was just sort of like you've gone down the first drop of like you've had the high and you've had that thrill.
Yeah.
We just coast for a little bit, like a little bit of a moment to catch your breath again. I suppose
you're on the roller coaster, but you're still 100 foot up in the air on the on the turn, kind of thing. That was one, and I guess one to bring in from the news now is in and amongst all that, we also got another game announced, which I'm just going to pull from our news doc after the fact. Did I? Yeah, Legacy of Kain Ascendance was announced after the State of Play.
Yes.
So they announced this remaster, and then in a blog post less than an hour after, they announced there's the first new entry in the series after 23 years coming along, which is Legacy of Kain. Ascendance, sorry, getting it right. But yeah, the project seems like a weird one. Apparently they've teamed up with a 2D action platformer with Crystal Dynamics, but it's Bitbot Media in association with them and Freak Zone Games, which is a Bitbot company. So it seems like there's a couple of like move the shell and the ball game going on with who's actually making this. But yeah, the project, it's in there. It's getting made. They clearly didn't want to showcase it off in the trailer, but it just feels like such a missed opportunity to not include, again, not knowing anything about Legacy Kain other than like it's a revered PlayStation classic and it has been over 2 decades. Surely get it in your State of Play, right? Like, why not go like, here's your classic remaster, comes out next month. He's the newest entry in the series, so if you like it, like, whet your appetite with it. But it is slightly different because it's a kind of 2.5D rather than your PlayStation 3D one. But if you're a Legacy of Kain fan, you'd probably take anything at this point. It's been 23 years, so
oh god, absolutely. I mean, I'm all for these these pixel based games at the moment as well. I mean, again, we'll get there with this State of Play, but oh my god, I was absolutely just delivered with some of the later news we got with this.
Oh yes, I love nothing more than when they kind of branch out into different genres. But I mean, Mario's done it for years, right? Yes. He started off just climbing barrels to try and catch a big ape on a bridge. And then now he plays tennis, he plays soccer, he has parties with people, he has a jamboree, he goes on adventures, he does 3D adventures, 2D adventures, he has movies, he has theme parks. He's just a plumber. Look what he does. So it always bugs me when you think you've got all these like great action kind of characters and IP that these companies sit on. And you do think like, why not pair with like a great little indie company and just make something with it? I was saying to Richie probably a good few weeks back now, Horizon, they've done the Lego Horizon, which I got. We've got the new game announced. We've got the MMORPG. We've got the multiplayer spin-off. Give me like a Horizon character in that world, but in like a 16-bit art style 2D side-scroller where you've got a bow and arrow, you've got a sword, you've got your little grenade pouches, go left or right, fight robot dinosaurs, level up your character. It doesn't need to be Aloy. It just needs to be in that world.
Yeah.
It would work absolutely, and give me like 20 levels of just like sand area, snow area. Give me a cauldron to go into, like maybe a bit of up down Metroidvania style, and I'd be happy. So seemingly, if you're a fan of Legacy of Kain, it's there on a plate for you to enjoy as well. Moving between that, we got Brigadine Abyss and Dead or Alive. Not really for me, this one. I don't know if you want to add anything.
Brigandine was an interesting one because I'd never heard of the game before, but coincidentally, when we were at the Retro Game Fair the other day, I saw a box had Brigandine on it, and I was like, "What is that?" So that was kind of like perfectly timed at this point.
Was it just called Brigadine, the original one?
I think it was just Brigandine.
Because there's Brigandine: The Legend of Forcina, which is a PS1 game here. And then and I actually remember you picking the box up and just like you don't see that word ever.
No.
But yeah, it was saying it's a tactical RPG. It kind of filled that slot in any kind of game showcase where you need your heavy Japanese slot, where a game you've never heard of before. Apparently, it's like famed the world over in kind of that part of the world, and it sold millions and millions of copies, and I've never heard of it. It's like when Richie was playing, was it E7 or something we got? Monstrum Knocks. I'm like, 7? I've never even heard of this game before. And there it is, knocking out sequel.
I actually think, Chris, not to be that guy, but pushing my glasses up right here. Actually, I think you'll find that was East 9 Monstrum Knocks as well.
Yes. Which one was 7? Did they both come at Stadia, 7 and 9?
I think we had 7, 8, and 9. Yeah.
Wow. So the 10's probably on the horizon then, as we speak, if not already made. Dead or Alive. All I really remember is the breasts from this one. So. Dead or Alive is like my kind of like lesser fighting game, like Mortal Kombat. Yeah, Tekken, even Virtua Fighter. Dead or Alive was always one I played at my uncle's on his Sega Saturn, I think, and that was probably it. Maybe there's none of the characters that inevitably stand out for me, but they did I think they did irritate the fan base a little bit because they almost like teased the future of Dead or Alive, teased the anniversary for 30 years. And then basically talked about just the final update for 6, which has been out since 2019 or 2018. So it was a bit like, it's nothing new. But yeah, Dead or Alive. Do anything for you, or is it dead?
It's glorified Guna material, isn't it? Really, let's be real.
Yeah. Even the thumbnail for the trailer is the breasts.
Yeah. They know their fan base at this point. They know what they've lent into. We've obviously always had the beach volleyball games that were always like heavily memed upon as well. So,
and there's a place for them, isn't there? I don't hold it against them, as we say. Moving on though swiftly to again one of my biggest games of the year, and I'm really excited because Richie's just about to start Control. He's probably already started this week. Never played it before. I thoroughly enjoyed it when the first one came out. Thoroughly since then played Alan Wake 2. One of my favourite games of all time now. So I'm fully in the Remedyverse. Control Resonant, I was in on day one anyway, but the more the show of this game, I'm just like, geez, this looks great. They give us a good kind of 4-minute gameplay segment.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this one, Tom? This just looks like wild shit.
Absolutely, like they're heavily leaning into that sort of, like you said, the Remedyverse. They've got the elements down to a T, haven't they? Just everything from being able to literally like change the plane of view that you're on, like moving between like that Doctor Strange you described it before the show as like moving literally from like one edge of a cube to the other edge of the cube, and the entire world shifts around you. So you're at the enemies that are still there. Are still there. Definitely felt a little bit more like a slightly different playstyle to Control, didn't it?
Control differently.
Very heavily into like the melee weapons as well. That huge hammer-looking weapon that Dylan, is it?
Yeah, Dylan. It's Jesse's brother in the game.
Yeah. Was great, and it gave me sort of action RPG vibes in a way. It was sort of like being very hack and slash,
like
almost.
DMC almost.
Yeah,
it's that weapon. It's like in the first game, it's the gun, and you can change it to like a shotgun, a rifle, whatever, and it's made of like these magnetic blocks that just can form whatever you want them to. And it seems like her brother's got like the melee version of that. You can have a giant hammer, you can have a staff, you can have little throwing daggers. And he goes brutal on some of these creatures that are in there. I'm presuming they're kind of like versions of the Hiss, who were the villains in the first one. But yeah, like as you said, that rotating the world. I'm picturing a moment where you're going to have a full Indiana Jones piece of you're surrounded by 20 of them, and all you're going to do is go crank, twist the world. They're going to all fall off the roof of a building, and you're just going to look so smooth doing it. But like I can picture Remedy going to go wild on the skill tree for this, because he also has like telekinesis abilities like Jesse did, so you can still pick things up, like throw rocks from the ground, use them as a shield buffer. But considering Alan Wake 2 was such a grounded, almost Resident Evil-esque, slow-moving horror game, they've just kind of took the shackles off with Control Resonant, and it looks just like absolutely wild. And,
I mean, they showed off a big laser whale boss battle. Like,
he flips the whole ceiling, the sky on its upside down, and to jump between the lasers, it just looks so good. The finishing moves, it looks like it's got some kind of press L3 to do a combat finisher. And if they can nail this with like the typical like Remedy, like rich, deep storytelling, I'm absolutely sold. This could be, again, it won a lot of Game of the Years when the first one came out. Like stealth hit. It's almost in a weird way. I say Alan Wake would have more fans if it didn't have such a lame name. Yeah. If Alan Wake was called Control and then some like horror title to like subtitle to kind of buffer it, because this has like creepy horror. And at the end of the trailer, you've got like the floating Death Stranding bodies outside of like what looks like a 1920s hotel theater showcase. And then the boss fight zooms in on that, and the boss fight's almost like a Expedition 33, one of the dancer creatures. Yeah. It's almost like one of them, but it's like this is the same people who did like Alan Wake and Quantum Break and stuff. So yeah, I do feel for Alan Wake sometimes because it's phenomenal, and just the name Alan, putting an Alan at the front of a game. Back to your point about Clive and Hugh, like no disrespect to those people's names. I'm sure our names sound dull and boring.
The dead old men's names.
Yeah, but yeah, if it was like just called Control something, it would work. But Sleeper Hit, again, Control first one was on such a low budget, and it made so much profit for them. I'm glad to see it expanding. 1-1. Next up, we had a reveal trailer for Crimson Moon, which was one of those ones that caught me back. Speaking of like brutal like melee action, tie it with some like Doom-esque rock music, killing demons as a Knight of the Realm. This one was one where knew nothing of it ahead of time. Reminded me a little bit of if you took Space Marine and just took the guns off them and give them swords instead. It was like, yeah, I'm down for it. And this trailer just looked great.
I got Darksiders vibes from it when I was first watching it. I kind of like expected it to be like Darksiders 4, but then it just came out Crimson Moon. Apparently it's also like part of a similar sort of Crimson verse thing as well. I think they also made a few other games that have the Crimson moniker as well.
It's not tied to Crimson Desert, is it? Surely not.
No. Crimson Desert is along with Black Desert, Black Desert Online. That's the desert verse. That's the instead. Desert verse. Different verse.
Colours
and just take two words and just slap them together, and there you go. There's your thing. But no, it looked good. It looked like another sort of AA like borderline indie sort of like just trash shit up basically. Wasn't it?
For a fact it's going to have like quite a loose base story of like these bad guys have taken over like a fantasy realm. You're a knight of the order of some sort, but you have some kind of powers, or you've been imbued with powers to save the realm, and it's your job to go out there, clear the areas, probably kill a few bosses, and level up. And it reminds me of I really enjoyed last year or the year before playing Evil West, which was like again quite a double A game, but shooting. It looks like that equivalent in terms of both visuals, but instead of guns, and you're not in the Wild West, you have swords, and you're in kind of like a fantasy setting, but. Yeah. It just looks fun. Like if I was like a 15-year-old and I had the time, I was like, this would be one that me and my brother would probably think this is like right up there with one of the best ones on the platform, without realizing it. It's probably going to come in cheap. I'm guessing this would probably going to launch around the £35 to £40 mark, like a Space Marine or something would.
Okay, I was thinking more along the 25 marker, but yeah, I could see.
It definitely won't be 80. That's for sure. Nah. But it looks good. Looks like a good debut one. Next up, we saw more of a showcase. In fact, I think a better showcase. We had Beasts of Reincarnation at the Xbox Developer Direct. Looked okay there. This one, I don't know whether they just like kept the better one for Sony, but this one actually I thought showcased the game really, really well. Of course, this is the one from Game Freak. So this is if you wonder where all that Pokemon money's going, it's into this one running in Unreal Engine. Yeah. There was actually a point in the trailer which made me chuckle where the pause and the girl and it says to her little dog character, "It's evolved," and I was like, "Hey, it's a Pokemon!" And it gets like a flower tail instead. But we had some concerns, me and Richie, about this one being like a Souls-like game, like way too difficult. But then actually, the more I see of it, it does seem to lean more into just like action instead, which is good. And again, Pokemon known more for like RPG than it's like Sekiro levels of difficulty. But where are you sitting on this one? Is it Game Freak finally breaking free the shackles of Pokemon and stretching their creative talents?
Yeah, I mean, like being able to join that conversation now is fantastic because it's good to show that there's a development team out there, a development team within Game Freak as well that actually can deliver on something more than just this. I know I'm going to get some haters for this, but the same like repeated Pokemon shit every single time. Who knows with the next Gen 10, but that's a different conversation for a different day. But I will say the one thing I noticed with this is obviously seeing like the girl with the flower dog sort of thing. I definitely feel like we're in a bit of an age at the moment of main character with animal sidekick sort of vibe going on once again. Obviously, with Kenner,
it's the same. They both have leafy dog tails.
Ghost of Yote. We've got Dog Wolf. as well. So
it must be something to do with like the finally nailed like the fur mechanics in Unreal.
Yes.
And everyone's like, oh shit, we can render them now. Let's do it.
We need to,
like when
this
Pixar
now.
did Sully and Monsters Inc. and they were like, there's 10,000 individual strands, and then since then every character gets furrier and furrier. It's one for the furries out there. But I hope it does well for Game Freak's sake, just so they can maybe branch out or do something different. I do feel like it's going to get them a lot of unnecessary shit, because then people are going to start asking why Pokemon doesn't look like this.
Yep.
And you do wonder. I've been wondering for quite some time, but who knows? Who knows? Next up, we had a nice little retro break. We moved into Rayman 30th anniversary, mentioned at the top of the show. A couple of highlights for this one. It's not just Rayman, the original game from 95, kind of celebrating its 30th anniversary, which feels wild to say. This was, I think, my one of, if not first, PlayStation 1 games as a kid. So to have this, like, kind of now seeing it like 30 years later, kind of get a bit of TLC. What I really do like is that it's all playable versions. So it's the Atari, the PC version, the Game Boy Color version, the PlayStation 1 version of that, plus some additional levels, plus the prototype levels, which were never released. Basically, when the dev kit that made the game levels, that's now playable within game. Loads of behind-the-scenes developer interviews. I think as far as, I guess, like dedicating time to celebrate what was one of the original kind of platform mascots on the PlayStation, I think it's great. Cheats have been added in for like unlimited lives and max health P, which you are going to need alongside a rewind feature. I do think as a kid I didn't get past probably the first 5 levels.
Yeah.
Because it does crank up. I think one of the ones where you have to fly on the Mosquito really, really quick, it just got too fast for my, at the time, 6-year-old brain. Couldn't do it.
Your childish mind.
So I'm maybe going to go back. And like I said, there'll be a stream up on the channel as well, because Ubisoft will give me a code. But yeah, 30 years of Rayman. Wild.
Wow.
And what Ubisoft's sitting on, they haven't given a new game in like 13 years, so they clearly don't love them that much.
Yeah. I know. My vibe from this was like it's almost a send off in a way, and you know it'd be sad if it is, but you know all good things come to an end. So
Rayman Legends was great as well. That's I think
that is true. That is true.
We got a little bit of a tease for Mina the Hollower, which is the Shovel Knight sequel, which looks fantastic. Looks like if Shovel Knight was a Zelda game, this is what you've got. There's a demo out now, so go check that out. It says it's coming spring, but they didn't give us a date. Again, it's like when they say spring, you think it's spring literally, in my mind, next month from March. So if you're so close, surely you can put a date on it. Surely. But yes, we got a trailer for Neva. They're doing a prologue game, which comes out on the 19th, so quite a quick turnaround. Comes out next week. I never played it, but I did know it got loads of plaudits and like indie game of the year when it came out.
Yeah,
I take it you didn't.
Again, the art style for it looked absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah,
something like it's very standout. It's almost like an interactive story in a way. The way that it played,
really clean, really crisp. And if I remember, you said it already, but the little wolf dog companion, I think in the main game it's like a full grown one, and I want to say it's probably going to die or something in the game. I haven't played it, but I feel like it's going to pull on your heartstrings. Every time you see an animal in these type of games, you know there's going to be some really sad piano music, and the dog's going to protect you or save you. But the gameplay is very much like Inside, Limbo. Like, figure out these little puzzles in between. Planet of Lana as well. The sequel to Planet of Lana's out soon. It's got Journey vibes, and I feel like calling it Neva Prologue is almost like doing the story a little bit of a disservice. Like, Prologue just seems like so inspired for a game that's so creative.
Yeah.
It feels like an afterthought, just a prologue game.
Yeah.
But it looks good, though, all the same. If you enjoyed the first one, you'll no doubt enjoy this one. All the little indie games like this, I always think they're going to end up in PlayStation Plus eventually, so I don't necessarily need to buy them.
It's the tricky bit, that is.
Oh wait, it says at the end of the trailer, DLC available February 19th. So is it DLC to the main game then? I thought it was like a standalone.
I believe it's. No, I believe it's like an additional sort of story branch that you can.
Right, I take some of that back then. So it is part of it. That wasn't clear in the initial. Trailer. I thought it was quite a quick turnaround, but that makes more sense. We got a bit of a Asian block at the moment. Yako Shinobi Ops. Did that do anything for you? I thought it looked cool, but not really in my wheelhouse.
Yeah, it was a bit of a strange one, that, because it gave this idea all of a sudden of like this four-player co-op, almost Gauntlet-esque game where you can play with your mates and you're just trying to like sneak around and try to accomplish mission. Like I don't know whether it's like assassinations or whether it's like heisty, but it almost gave me like Diablo 2 vibes with like the isometric sort of look and the low like the low graphics quality of the game as well, and the way that like the vision was sort of like pixelated and the vision scope that you had, stuff like that. Very interesting, very strange premise. Not one that I personally will be picking up, but I can see for the right price, like an interesting game that people might want to pick up, just completely out of left field for me.
Yeah, it showcases as though you almost have like an assassination job to take down. You work as a team with like different like abilities. Like one sneaks in, one's the brute who knocks you to the wall. But as you said, yeah, the kind of the isometric camera viewpoint is quite intriguing from it. Plus, Shinobi Ops, that's a cool name. I'll give them that one. That's quite a cool name. But yeah, we'll probably see a little bit more about that in the kind of the weeks to come. It did say. I say weeks ago, months ago, but it did say 2027, so this felt like the one that was like, you didn't really need this here. That could have been held until maybe the Game Awards at the end of the year to say, oh, next year we've got this one coming out. But it could be one of those recruitment trailers where they're putting it out there to get some eyes on it so people will come and help. Next up, though, this was one of my kind of like pleasant surprise ones. We knew about Project Windless, as it was said, because Sony have started making these kind of all these deals with other studios to make bigger games, and we knew it was based on the novel The Bird Who Drinks Tears, I think it is. So we're getting a lot of these kind of like Asian mythological folktale stories coming across. We started with like Wukong Fallen Dynasty, and what was the other big one? It's huge. Was it Wukong? Was it Wukong I'm thinking of?
So we've got Wo Long Fallen Dynasty and Black Myth Wukong.
That's the one, Black Myth Wukong. Yeah, something Wukong. In there, yeah, that was the first one that made people really sit up and go, "Oh, you know what? There's something here." And I think from I guess a Western perspective, we've had so much of like the same ancient Egyptian, ancient Greek. Like we get a lot of that to begin with. Assassin's Creed's been drip feeding from that teat for like 30 years now itself. To kind of get different things is always intriguing. And I think I think we had Wu Chang Feathers, or Fallen Feathers, or something as well at the back end of last year. So there's definitely a naming convention that's coming, part of the Wu universe. This one though, I think blew everyone away at the trailer because visually looked phenomenal. But then it gets to like 20 seconds into the trailer, and even though it is based on the novel The Bird That Drinks Tears, didn't expect the protagonist to be a giant cock, Tom, if I'm honest, or should we say like a giant anthropomorphic chicken, essentially.
Yeah, let's just for the people who aren't following along, it is a rooster essentially, isn't it? So it's large,
and he's jacked.
This is like it's like Colonel Sanders' final boss KFC.
It's I saw loads of people on the internet saying like it's basically from Family Guy. It's when Peter Griffin fights the giant chicken guy, made into a massively stunningly beautiful open world RPG action game. Yeah. This basically looks like if you took that giant chicken, which sounds weird saying it out loud, give it to the Dynasty Warriors team, Koei Tecmo, and let them make it in the world of like Wukong, Fallen Dynasty kind of stuff. This is it. Like this is a buff ass chicken, and he is taking people out left, right, and center. I read a little bit more into it. It looks like there's kind of like 5 clans in this fantasy world, and he is one of the kind of the defenders of the kind of peace, I guess, in a way. And he's just an absolute beast, isn't he? He's hacking through them with his dual swords. He forms them into what's the big blade one called? But you can chuck that.
Yeah, and he like throws it around and it just like a spinning death blade, isn't it? It's just like mowing down like thousands of people on the way back to him.
It looks so good. He's like a Hulk thunderclap roar, which like wipes him out. He flies on a dragon that looks like it's made out of a tree as well. It's just like any basically if you kind of took Elden Ring bosses.
I was going to say if you kind of took mushrooms and just
that as well. But yeah, some of the combat almost looks like God of War-esque as well when you're fighting like the bigger creatures. Like he takes down like a giant orangutan or something at some point. Giant chicken fighting a giant monkey, why not? Yeah. And then it opens up to this like all massive scale like Age of Empires piece where it just keeps going and it just shows you what you can do now. So good. And this is one that if it's not Dark Souls, because it does look more like hack and slash Musou, I think the internet and the world are going to be all over this just for Giant Chicken Man.
It's mental, yeah, because as somebody from a Western audience, we look at this and we can't help but laugh at the premise of it, of this giant fucking chicken bloke is just like mowing down humans. But you know, this is something that's cemented in like Asia, like East Asian lore and Asian mythology, and we're sitting here just like feeling like it's a little bit of a joke game at first, but in reality, there's probably like a really in-depth, detailed story to it with like all sorts of elements to it.
And absolutely. And then you do wonder, like, the Asian side of things look at it from our point of view, go, oh, what's that crap out of Minotaur again? A guy with a bull's head who's like in a maze, and like, what a stupid story. But like to us, it's like, yeah, it's what we were taught in school. It's what we always know.
What do you mean a one-eyed man with a club?
Yeah, Cyclops get lost. So you can see how it works on both sides. Speaking of like creepy creatures, we then moved on to Star Wars Galactic Racer, which looks so good again. Like,
my god!
When the Lucasfilm thing pops up, you always get immediate hype, right? As a Star Wars fan, you're like, oh, come on, what have you got for me? What have you got for me? Is it Jedi Fallen Order's third entry? But no, we got more Galactic Racer. And thankfully for me, they quashed the thought of like, it didn't look like in the first trailer pod racers were really a part of it. They definitely are. This trailer was like absolutely bang. It looks like Burnout meets pod racing. Visuals so good.
Absolutely. I think that the fact that they're leaning heavily into not just the speeders, the speeder bikes, we're looking at the pod racers, we're finally getting this sort of like evolution of just like Star Wars Racer, of what Star Wars Racer should really be, and calling it Galactic Racer. The idea that you can just like smash and like just absolutely trash other people's vehicles in the middle of a race as well. And to have it looking so crisp as well, like... just like inject it right into my veins, because this is one I am 100% hyped for, and I hope I get to play this with you guys.
Yeah, the worlds look just stunning, don't they? Like the visual, like I said, we've like even back to the Battlefront games like EA and like Criterion and stuff and Motive. They've just got the visuals nailed down. So put that with explosions and fast pace, it just looked beautiful. And as I said, pod race, and at the end you get a cameo from the one and only Ben Quadranero. And Sebulba's engines in the background. It's like, yes, you need to give us these quirky characters. They did mention as well, they're side by side. Episode 1, man, the memes alone, but
absolutely.
I'm just glad to see it again. I think in a world where I feel like we get no real Star, like I know we get Star Wars stuff, but I feel like we've fallen so far as a franchise. Like I still love it through and through, but it does feel like I'm so glad the games are still kind of flying the flag. Jedi Fallen Order has been fantastic. This looks great. We've obviously got a Star Wars Eclipse at some point coming, but I feel like the games are doing it right. Where every other element's struggling. Although, say that, Andor was some of the best television I've ever seen. So,
well, this is it. I think now's a good time to like. It's a good point of being a Star Wars fan again, because we're sort of like we're starting to see that it doesn't just have to be about the Skywalker saga. It doesn't just have to be about the Jedi. There can be other elements within the universe that can be delved into more deeply. There's so much going on out there. Like it just imagine a world where we would have gotten like Star Wars 1313 as well back on the levels of Coruscant. You know, that's the kind of thing that now I feel like can absolutely happen, and people can really like sink their teeth into. So it might just seem like on the surface like a racing game, but to me this is peak Star Wars. I'm so looking forward to it.
Yeah, so good. Always love a good racer. But yeah, I would love to have them all. And of course, Quadranero gets like shafted in the movie, doesn't he? His power coupling doesn't go, and he ends up getting shafted into the sky. So he deserves his chance. We got a bit of an update for another James Bond trailer. Again, I think I've seen everything I need. So it looks like Uncharted and Hitman merged together with the Bond thing. 27th of May. Thoroughly looking forward to it. Hype for that one. Next in, we moved into the Konami section. which could have been a showcase unto itself, but boy, did it help elevate the kind of hype and what would have probably been a normal lull point of a state of play where you
Before we get into the games here, I have to say, like, just touching on what you just said then about the Konami showcase, I actually think this was done incredibly well in the way that they set it up of like, we are the PlayStation team's like global partner initiative. We want to like talk to you and have this collaboration with one of our like longtime partners, and this time we're going over to Konami, and then bam, here we go.
Anything's possible. And they kickstart it off with the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 2, which is bringing, for the first time ever, Metal Gear Solid 4, a Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, currently locked away on the PlayStation Portable and the PlayStation 3. They have been for some time. Finally coming over. Again, I'd love to know how much groundwork went in behind the scenes to get them off that PS3 architecture, the cell processor stuff and everything. Don't get me wrong, they still have that lovely sepia tone that particular era was famed for. But the fact that you can now play them all from start to finish on modern consoles is like it's deserving of the franchise and Kojima's legacy at the same time. Peace Walker, for those who've not played Peace Walker on the PSP, it's essentially the foundations for what would become Metal Gear Solid 5. So the whole kind of like create your own team, Fulton lift them out there, drop in, drop out, almost like a mission style. It's that with like a really cool comic book overlay, the way that obviously it's on a PSP, so they don't have the budget or the scale to do a full Metal Gear game, but it's fully made by Konami and Kojima, fully overseen, full story. It's not like a spin-off in its traditional sense. It very much is part of Snake's story. So yeah, if you've never played Peace Walker, now's the time to play it on the big screen TV. And what a way to kick it off.
Absolutely, and I don't want to like get anybody's hype up, but I'm pretty sure at the end of it they also said a little of just a snippet. It was just a one-liner where he said like, "That's not the end. That's not the last you're going to hear of Metal Gear." Like, and that was just like,
Did you see the part where they almost like pissed everyone off though? Because he says like, he did that very Japanese thing like they do on the Nintendo Direct, where they say like, "Please look forward to," and I think that translates over to like English of, "Oh, we've got something lined up for you. Like, please look forward to it." Whereas actually, I think that's their nice, polite way. Like Nintendo always go, "Please enjoy the presentation. Please enjoy what's coming in the future." I think it's the translation definitely set people up for like expecting something more.
Oh yeah.
And then we got the Paradox instead. But I wanted to highlight the Metal Gear one specifically because I've got them both there, and the fact that I don't have to dust off the PSV, don't have to dust off the PS3 and play them. Finally, can't wait for that one. But yeah, as we alluded to it, they kind of showed off the Darwin's Paradox, which is the little octopus game, which, to its credit, I think it looks great. It looks something very un-Konami. There is going to be a Metal Gear kind of demo that's available now. So if you want to go play
a transition.
It really was, wasn't it? To Snake. But yeah, I think this looks great. It looks super fun. It looks like just a little puzzle thing with an octopus. It looks like it's got a quirky bit of humour. Very much if the octopus Frank from Finding Dory escaped, I'd imagine this is the type of adventure he went on before he ended up in the aquarium. Lots of little quirky puzzle solving using obviously the body of an octopus to kind of camouflage, climb up verticality wise, stick to wall ceilings, utilises 8 limbs in a clever thing. I think at one point he ends up in a mech suit just to add a bit of comedy to it. Very Abe's Odyssey vibes.
Yes, I got that sort of vibe as well. It's almost like it almost had that like Octodad like feeling to it as well. Yeah. But it does actually, like, for what it's worth, it looks really crisp as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
and I love the tease where it was like, "Oh, look forward to more Metal Gear," and it showed you the box move, and it was like it was him, it was Darwin the octopus. And it actually said at one point in the trailer, said like tactical octopus action.
Octopus action.
You just got to go with, haven't you? Like, if
they lent into that hard. It was so good.
When people say like Konami's lost without Kojima at the helm, is this what they mean? We're getting a Metal Gear octopus game instead. Like, we can't do anything with Snake, so let's transition from a snake to an octopus. and tie it in with another thing. But yeah, demos out. I'm definitely going to check the demo out because I think this is one where it'll be a fun little game. Again, I think if it came in around like the 19-20 quid price point, I think that would do it wonders coming at that low ball figure. Continuing on though through that, we got a Castlevania, a brand new Castlevania set in the 2D world in France. Castlevania Belmont's Curse comes out later this year. Obviously, they've spent a long time porting and making collections of the previous Castlevania games. They've all been praised for like the detail, the behind-the-scenes stuff, all the extra added features. What did you think of Castlevania Belmont's Curse? I love the name already.
I absolutely fell in love with this the second I saw it. The art style, the fact that it's a new Castlevania game. You know, these like it's one half of the Metroidvania namesake. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just everything I want. Main character you're playing as is Trevor Belmont in this one as well, so it's bringing back one of the characters who you've played in one of the previous titles. I love it. And it's something we talked about when we went out to the Retro Fair the other day, and we were looking at Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Obviously, a fantastic game, and very difficult to come by these days. But to see a new Castlevania game, this is what I want, and I think it's really going to fill the bill for me because of the fact that it is created by and working in partnership with Motion Twin and Evil Empire, I think it is. Who they're the team behind like Dead Cells, and Dead Cells was a roguelike game that I absolutely worshipped. Like I loved that game from inception. So this is just so spot on for me.
And Dead Cells had Castlevania DLC, if I'm not mistaken, as well, which was almost like the test bed for like Dead Cells. In effect, it was the spiritual successor to Castlevania. Do a little tie-in game with the DLC, and that was definitely them going, "Yeah, we fully trust you with this. Know what you're doing." And yeah, you said the art style. I thought the visuals between it leaned so heavily into the Netflix series as well for me, which was like, oh, this is like the perfect pairing of what modern. Fans probably are conscious of what Castlevania should look like, and then almost with the sprinkle of the Prince of Persia Lost Crown visuals for 2D or 2.5D, I think it just looks great. I do still feel Castlevania is so ready for a third-person action game. Like, just explore the castle, but in like a fully realized, like, imagine going through that castle in full, like, like Hogwarts Legacy to Potter fans. Give me that for Castlevania. Like, let me explore the grounds, the forest, the surrounding villages, fight vampires in the sky and bats and all that. But alas, I think for now everyone will be more than happy with Belmont's Curse. It looks fantastic, really, really good. Silent Hill. We had Silent Hill J not that long ago, reviewed very well in Jeff Keighley's Game of the Year Game Awards Final 5. We're getting Silent Hill Townfall this year, which pivots a little bit to the Resident Evil trait of first-person horror, taking place in a little Scottish village. And I've not really been one for Silent Hill. I know, obviously, we know my Resident Evil history. Kind of the same thing for Silent Hill. Bit of a coward when it comes to horror games in the past. Missed it on PlayStation 1 because I was probably too young to play the game. This trailer looked fantastic, I thought. I thought it did really good at setting the scene, the tone. They got the fog in there, of course. But yeah, what do you think of this one? I don't know, maybe it's because it's set in Britain. I was like, ooh, it's my neck of the woods. Yeah.
This one sort of stood out to me as well, because I was thinking the same sort of thing as you. It was very familiar. The fog gave it away straight away that it was a Silent Hill game. Like, we knew the second that we saw it that it was. I really liked the premise that they set up with the main character of this, and I love the idea that they're leaning into the first person. I think that just adds a whole different dynamic to a horror thriller-esque game. And yeah, I think this is going to be the next greatest entry in the Silent Hill franchise, which seems to be on like a tear at the moment.
Oh, again. Absolutely!
This is the Silent Hill 2 remake. Like, let's fucking go.
Yeah. Bloober Team rumored to be ready to announce a Silent Hill 1 remake. So, like, by the end of the decade, you're going to have, like, everything remade, I think. And then if they can do this is like their spin-off and just try something a little bit different. Like, the first person rejuvenated the whole... It saved the Resident Evil franchise, some would argue, after 6. So this looks huge, and I just think visually it looks stunning. I think you're right, the first-person nature of the horror. And the mystery the trailer sets up with like the gentleman, it seems to be stuck in some kind of like psychological loop where he doesn't... Is it really in the world, or is it all in his head? Has he done something in the past? There's something medical tied to it because he's wearing like a band, and like it cuts at one point almost like a Stranger Things Vecna version of himself. And you're thinking like, oh, what is the inner head, mind, creepy, scary horror shit they're going to implement with this? It does look...
Axe Head as well.
Yeah, Axe Head. Not Pyramid Head, Axe Head. And then like the way he's got that little kind of portable handheld television, I feel like it's going to be, you know, in Outlast when you use your camcorder. I feel like there's definitely going to be something where you're going to use the little mini TV radio to either explore or see things that you can't see in the real world, which again, just another like nice little horror like layer of fear to add to it. But Silent Hill Townfall. Added to the Fall universe, we've got Killzone Shadowfall, we've got Towerfall, we've got Redfall. We don't talk about Redfall. But yeah, looks good. It's got some good visuals. They did a Silent Hill transmission, actually like a deeper dive straight after the state of play. People thought they were going to stealth drop the remake trailer or teaser. Did nothing of the sort. They just showed off more of Silent Hill Townfall. Probably going to get through some of these a bit of a clip because we are actually running quite long on this one. Rev Noir, I'm going to skip over. Go check that one out. Visuals look great, but not for me. John Wick.
We have to talk about John Wick.
It wasn't going to happen. John Wick Untitled game. They haven't quite settled on that one yet. Keanu Reeves seemingly is back to reprise his role and voice acting credentials, it would appear. I mean, the John Wick. If you've not seen the movies, this just lends itself to a video game, right?
Oh my god!
It's the only shame of the whole thing is that it didn't go to the Sifu guys.
Yes,
because that would have been like just absolute chef's kiss for them. However, it's with Saber. And Saber on the up and up at the moment. Like Space Marine knocked it out the park. So I have a lot of faith in them to almost bring AA up to a AAA standard. And I don't know, what would you like? It's a CGI trailer. They do show a little bit of gameplay, but it was all like fighting mechanics. What would you expect from this, Tom? Would it be like, would you want a John Wick story mixed in? Would you want level based? Would open world, linear? Where do they go with this? Because it could do anything really.
Absolutely. I almost want it like scene for scene, like you say, level based, but like moving through. It's got to be like quite quick paced. It's got to be very much like action oriented, like moving from like whether it's hand to hand into gunplay. It's going to have to be very fluid in the motion with it. Now, one thing I do know is that Saber have already come out and said they're going to try to be as like true to the films as they can in terms of like the combat. So making the combat very much like this sort of focus of the gameplay, which is brilliant because that's kind of what you want. Like John Wick is literally just it's a violence fiasco. Like it's just hyper violence, isn't it? Yeah, gun fu. There you go.
In my head, when you're saying about combat, I just picture if they can like refine the Batman Arkham combat into guns and kung fu. I think that would be right. I think all you really need is a couple of button prompts to like block when someone goes to strike you. He needs so many finishes just to make it feel varied. I think that could be great. But I mean, I hadn't watched any John Wick movies up until about 2 years ago, and then me and my wife watched through all of them in like a week. Yeah. And they kept just getting better. Like they're kind of all equal. I wouldn't say one's necessarily better than the other one. I think the first is the clear winner. But the difference, you're just happy to sit and watch it because they're so creative. I think if they can put that into a game world, it looks fantastic. We then got a story trailer for Marathon. Don't need to rest on that. We spoke about plenty in the show. Bungie's new game comes out imminently, March 5th. They did say early access and they're going to be doing some server tests leading up to it. So I'm guessing that's like a little free sample of the game to just test the numbers. We got some PlayStation Plus announcements. Marvel Spider-Man 2 is coming to PlayStation Plus catalog. Tekken and Time Crisis from the retros are coming to the PlayStation Classics library. Nice one for Time Crisis. They said the gyroscope and the DualSense controller can be used to aim and shoot, like with the old guns. Nice little implementation there. Big Walk from House, which was the colourful Pingu game, open world, all I can explore it as. That's coming day one to the PlayStation Plus catalog, so you'll get that day one. I think it's the guys who made Bug Snacks, if I'm not mistaken. It's like kind of them being a bit weird and quirky. Looks super chill. We got some gameplay for Saros. Again, comes out on the 30th of April. I don't need to see more of Saros. I know what it is. I think it looks great. It looks really, really fun. But just the trailer at this point just looks more of the same for me. I think you need to be on the sticks to enjoy that now. Same with Marvel talk on character reveal. They kind of show off the X-Men for this one. Not a fighting game fan, but the hype for this one seems real, and they put a date on it finally. It's coming out in August. Anything for you about the Marvel one?
Not really. I mean, I'd started getting into 2XKO. I'm not a big fighting game person, but with like 2XKO sort of like struggling to find its feet, I'm a little bit concerned about Tokon Fighting Souls actually hitting it as well. It just feels like it's another one of these games that's in a saturated marketplace. You've got your Street Fighter, you've got your Tekken, and then beyond that, you've got all of your X, Y, and Z anime-based BlazBlues, your Guilty Gears, all of these sorts of things. That, yeah, it's got the Marvel IP, but so did Marvel vs. Capcom, and Marvel vs. Capcom hasn't had a thing for a while, so I'm sort of not sure where I sit with it, really. Didn't hear a word of that because you're muted.
I am muted, you're right. Got a cough. They ended the show after an hour plus. I think it ran for like 70 odd minutes in the end.
Yep.
With a kind of logo treatment comes out. We hear the God of War, the deep drums and the bass. And then we get the 1, and then the 2, and then the 3. And then it pans out to God of War Trilogy Remake, the OG God of War remake. Which what does that? What does remake mean for you over remastered? What are we expecting from this? Because this is the trilogy that started all. It's Santa Monica. It's not a spin-off studio. It's the OG studio that has not done anything other than God of War for 20 years now. I've never played the original. I picked up on this franchise at 2018. Ooh, so for me, I'm like, oh shit. If they do like the Resi remake treatment where they tweak it and make it maybe the story a little bit tighter, but with the fun game. Obviously, the originals were a lot more hack and slash, weren't they? Than saying that the reboot isn't exactly not hack and slash, but a bit more like classic PlayStation 2 era combat. Mash the button, do that. Move to the next arena, mash the button. What do you want? What are you expecting? I'm guessing you've played them to some extent more than me.
Yeah, I have actually got some experience with these, and you are right. I think they fall very much into a sort of time and a place in gaming history in terms of like the play style. So I think from a remake, I would expect something that does bring it a little bit more in line with the 2018 and Ragnarok. I am very excited for this. Like, this was something I did not expect at all. Like, there were all these rumors coming in that, we're going to get this next game that we're going to talk about, I presume. But to lead in with this, wow. This is where, like, the hairs on the back of my neck started to stand on end, because I was just like, let's fucking go.
They did get they brought out T.C. Carlson, who was the original Kratos voice actor, so they could have very much went with Christopher Judge with that one. So I appreciate they brought back the original actor, who very much just seemed like Jeff Goldblum on the thing. He was just very charismatic, very chill, very laid back. He was like, hey baby, calm down, sit down. We've got more for you now. And very early doors, so we didn't get any gameplay or anything. We basically just got a CG logo, all intents and purposes. But to think that's in the pipeline, super hyped. Bringing him back, the original voice actor, does lead me to think as part of a remake they're going to do a lot more recording of new lines rather than just use the original audio. So I think that bodes well. And again, if we get a trilogy of like remakes similar to RE2, 3, and 4, this could be running in the Santa Monica engine, like the modern engine. Oh yeah, it's going to be so good. So yeah, I'm hyped for that one. That looks fantastic. And then we ended. He ended it, I should say, on a bit of a tease, saying like, we know the games are a little bit far off, but let's tease you a little bit more. And we got a trailer for God of War, Sons of Sparta. And not only that, Tom, it's out now.
I really appreciate the way that they said coming 2026 and then had the brothers, Kratos and Deimos, slam it out now. Boom. Love
Done.
it.
It's out there, It's $29.99. There's no reviews because it's out now. And this is back to what we mentioned earlier. Take the franchise, give it to another studio. It's Mega Cat Studios, I think, it's with supervision of Santa Monica. You now have a Kratos prologue story as a 2.5D action side scroller.
Yeah.
What do you think? What thoughts on it visually? I think visually, after seeing Castlevania, I did feel like it was a bit of a step down. That was the only unfortunate part. But as a standalone product, if I blank out Castlevania, I think this is a cooler spin-off. Again, it's not taking any Santa Monica resources, really, and we're getting more of the Kratos before he's a god. It's just as he's a Spartan, as they say.
Absolutely. I think for me, there's a special place in my heart for pixel art. So I think that just the pixel vibe alone for me was good enough. It also gave me vibes of like the old Pitfall games and the Prince of Persia games in terms of like the quality of the assets. So I like that art style. It's very nostalgic to me. I love it, and it's on my wish list currently. So as soon as time and money allows, it will be something that's moving into the library.
Yeah, same for me. I saw it and I was like, oh, I'm going to download that. And then I thought, I've got Rayman to play it. And do I really... Like, £30 seems a bit of a tall order from it.
Yes.
I reckon I would have bought it today if it was 20.
Yeah.
Like, that extra 10 is like, okay. Because it is... There is something we said, unfortunately, about the pixel art style and the 2D nature. It does make it think like anything over 30 is your ask. Even though it is still ultimately the same blood, sweat, and tears goes into making it, it does make you think twice a little bit about it. And that was the state of play. So they ended on like 2 God of War announcements, but I think the fact that the last one is kind of out now, it's just like you can't help but smile and go, oh shit. Like if I want to play it, I can very much like just get on board right now. And I think not having anything to show for the trilogy remake, if it was just that, it would have been like, oh, it doesn't even have a year, it doesn't even have any visuals. But to then end and then immediately go into that, I think it's perfect. I think it landed really well. And in summary, made for an S-tier state of play, which they've set the bar now.
Oh yeah,
like they've set the bar now. And as we said, didn't see Wolverine. Didn't see Intergalactic. Didn't see anything from a lot of the first party series. This was all a mix of great third party sponsorship. Again, Konami bringing the sauce with all their stuff, kicking things off with Kina. Look great. No dips, no pachinko machine games, no massive random open world freebies, no High Guard. Sorry, High Guard. You're not even making the news this week, even though you've laid off some staff because how busy the show's been. But yeah, fantastic. What a time to be a PlayStation fan. If you've got one sat there. Some quick news stories just to round out the show after all that excitement. Mario Tennis is out. Mario Tennis Fever. Clocking in at a 77 on Metacritic. People saying, like, again, it's a Mario Tennis game, reviewing really well. Seemingly doesn't seem to live up to the previous entries, but fun all the same is the general favourability I'm getting from it. I'm like, I think most people, I enjoy a Mario Tennis game as much as the next person. But it's not one that, like, I've got to Switch to. It's not one I'm going to go out and buy. It's just, I just have to appreciate. I played it loads around my cousin's 64. Was it Mario Tennis 64? Or whatever the Nintendo 64 version of it was. Because we've had, like, Fever. I want to say All-Stars. Mario Tennis something. We've had play. You get one, like, every generation, don't you? It's more of the same. I know they implement, like, a couple more mini-games and a couple of different game match types with, like, hit the ball through the ring and take out enemies with it, spin ball, that kind of stuff. But ultimately, if you're into Mario and you want to play tennis, it's there waiting for you. 77 Metacritic, not too bad at all. And then the final one I wanted to just add in there, Tom, at the end, is the Jurassic Park collection is set to be delisted later on this year. So this is the limited run game which kind of bundles together all like the classic SNES games, the Mega Drive games, some Game Boy titles as well. There's about 7 games in total as part of this collection. It had a limited run game series, but as of March 31st this year, it's going to get delisted. Which, in my mind, is presumably because of Universal licensing with the movie, most likely. Limited run or something. It's a shame to see it disappear. That's the unfortunate thing. I have the PS5 disc, so I'm quite sitting happy. But I've seen the price immediately skyrocket because obviously the physical copies, it's the only way you're going to be able to play it. Like a lot of the old Activision stuff, the Marvel games, Deadpool
That's where
and
you
stuff.
want your collector's editions.
Those ones, yeah. So if you're in the market for it, now is probably the time to pick up these classic Jurassic Park games while you can. And that, Tom, has been a bumper episode of the GamerGuild Podcast. Pretty much the PlayStation Showcase podcast, but
Showcase.
So many games. And again, they are coming with the platforms. We should point out, I think half of them probably will come to Xbox. A handful of them will no doubt come to the Switch. It'd be great if some of them did. Imagine if the God of War game went on the Switch.
Yeah.
It would just fit perfectly. Castlevania is absolutely going to be on the Switch. But then, all in all, great week for games. It's propping up 2026 to be a fantastic year. And we like to end every episode here on the show by looking back at this day in video gaming history. We're recording on Friday the 13th. Ooh, spooky. Any particular games stand out for you on Friday the 13th in this day in yesteryear?
Taking a quick look through, I think for me the one that sticks out the most is Zone of the Enders, the second runner. I really enjoyed that game back on PlayStation 2. That was, wow, okay, that's depressing to see that it was 23 years ago in Japan that game came out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Tetris 99, 7 years ago.
Tetris 99.
I remember that one. That was a thing when every game had its 99 Battle Royale mode. We had Pac-Man, didn't we, as well? We played it on the channel. Pac-Man Mega Tunnel Battle. But yeah, 2 years ago, Skull and Bones finally made it out the dock at the dry dock.
Did it? I kind of wish it hadn't.
I mean, it might still be in there, yeah. 9 years ago, we got For Honor, still going strong for Ubisoft as well. Skipping forward a date to February 14th. 26 years ago, we got Ridge Racer 64.
Wow.
Star Fox Assault on the GameCube.
Yeah.
As well. We've had quite a couple of dry weeks actually been in the January phase, so it's quite nice to see us kind of moving now into actual big game releases. Top one for me on the February the 15th, 20 years ago, 2006, Star Wars Empire at War.
Wow.
Phenomenal RTS game.
Yes.
Take the DNA of Command and Conquer, put a Star Wars skin on it. Why would you not want to do a skirmish campaign through the galaxy and take every planet? Wonderful. And my biggest one, just to end on, you'll go ahead if you got one.
14 years ago, on the 15th of February, PlayStation Vita. There we go, baby.
What a full circle moment from the start of the show, talking about Walking Dead, to the end of the show. PlayStation Vita launched, of course, with Uncharted Golden Abyss. The often forgotten about
and Anthem
Uncharted
7
game.
years ago as well, but we don't talk about Anthem.
We don't talk about Anthem at all. But that's been it for this week's episode of the GamerGuild Podcast, your weekly show where we get together to round up all of the week's gaming news for your viewing or listening pleasure here on YouTube, podcast services. Just search for the GamerGuild Podcast, you'll find us there. My name's been Chris.
I've been Tom.
Richie should be back next week if his throat clears up. But thank you very much for stepping in, Tom. Always appreciate it. Always great talking about games with you. And we'll see you next time, folks. Play wherever makes you the happiest. Goodbye.
Bye.